He knocked me over. I landed on the dog bowl.
This one's wife, the Meghan Rage. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Yesterday it was the women's final at Wimbledon, a rather one-sided affair. Nevertheless, as patron of the All England Club, the Princess of Wales was in attendance at Wimbledon. It was a very warm day as she appeared, and let's have a look at the reception that she received in this short clip. Applause, standing ovation, and cheering, all for Catherine, Princess of Wales. Elegantly dressed as always, immaculately turned out, she acknowledges the applause of the crowd with smiling and waving. There's no smug look in her eyes, no drinking up of the fuel, for she is not a narcissist, no sense of entitlement that you should all be applauding me because I'm special, even a slight self-deprecating shrug as the noise became elevated and people began to cheer her. All demonstrative of an outpouring of affection, delight, respectfulness towards the Princess of Wales. Not silence, not people chatting amongst themselves, and certainly not booing. It was a display of warmth, appreciation, and affection for Catherine. Naturally, there will be somebody who will have watched this. Someone over the seas. May not have necessarily watched it live because of time difference, but would certainly have seen it covered in the media. As I've explained to you elsewhere, this one's wife has a focus and an obsession on this one's wife. Nemesis, Catherine. Now, it's not always the case that the narcissist will demonstrate such an obsession. Indeed, many narcissists don't, contrary to what people believe. They often think that the narcissist is sat at home thinking about that particular victim, and the reality is the narcissist is not. The reason being, sitting and thinking about you doesn't actually provide much for the narcissist. It's not allowing the narcissist to gain control. There might be some thought fuel, but that's fairly ephemeral in nature. It's certainly not providing residual benefits or character traits. Instead, the narcissist is going to be moved to do something, either to hoover, to assert control and to draw that fuel and to gain that residual benefit, or to jettison, to stay in a position of control through withdrawal. But they're not going to spend minutes and hours ruminating on you, obsessing over you. That is because it doesn't serve the purpose of the narcissist. Now, certain narcissists, as a consequence of the fact that you have come up on their radar, may well be moved to find out more information about you. And when it comes to this one's wife, her focus and obsession on Catherine is such that it causes her, as a matter of repeated habit, to find out what Catherine has been up to. This is because Catherine has the status of nemesis. Not every narcissist has one, but with this one's wife she does, because quite simply, in the deluded world of this one's wife, as I have explained previously, Catherine occupies the position that this one's wife believes, and truly believes, ought to be hers. This means that her narcissism as a default position regularly causes her to look up what she's doing, to find out where she's been, what she said, what she's wearing. And, in a perverse way, this only results in further problems for this one's wife, because what does she see? She sees a perfectly turned out woman receiving the adoration of a crowd, and this ignites the fury that is lurking beneath the surface for this one's wife. The fury is churning and broiling, and then it is brought to the fore Because when she sees Catherine receiving this applause, receiving the favour of the crowd and the cheers, it wounds her. A non-narcissist would look upon it and may well think to themselves, good for her, she's been through difficulties as of late, it's lovely that people are being supportive. Or, yeah, I understand why people cheer her, she's a lovely lady and they like her. Other people might think to themselves, well, seems a bit silly, she's no one special, she's just got a title, but hey, it doesn't do any harm. Differing reactions with regard to how they might view Catherine and her status as the Princess of Wales. But what they don't respond with is a deep-seated seething envy, which is harnessed by the narcissism and layered with the rage. Because in the world of this one's wife, she should be receiving that applause. Now, from your perspective, that seems completely illogical. How can she? She's in Monty Shit Show, Catherine is at Wimbledon. She isn't anything to do with the All England Club. She isn't even in the United Kingdom. She probably wouldn't receive that applause, given the way that she has behaved towards the royal family and towards the population of the United Kingdom. How can she therefore maintain that that should be hers? This is the deluded mind of the narcissist. She believes that she is special. She believes that she is elevated. She believes that she should be the Princess of Wales. The logic that you apply doesn't apply to her because it's viewed through the skewed perspective of her narcissism. She truly believes that it ought to be her at Wimbledon, and it would have been her at Wimbledon if people had not been racist towards her. It would be her at Wimbledon if the press hadn't conducted a witch hunt against her. It would be her at Wimbledon were it not for the fact that the royal family briefed against her. It would be her at Wimbledon enjoying the adoration of the crowd were it not for those awful trolls on social media. Remember, she is the eternal victim. All the things that she has done and all the things that she has said that have invited criticism are not her fault. Her frustration at not being able to achieve an attendance at Wimbledon isn't as a consequence of the fact that she departed the royal family and hasn't been welcomed since, because of the way that she behaved. No. It is because she has been denied the right to be there as a consequence of the awful and unjustified behaviour towards her by other people. When this happens and she looks upon Catherine, who is the nemesis, she is wounded because all of the focus of the attention, the love, the affection, the delight, the warmth, the applause, the cheering is directed towards Catherine and not this one's wife, which means not only is she missing out on that fuel, but it is threatening her need for control. And thus the rage burst forth. In that instant, this one's wife is taken back to when she was a little girl and things didn't go her way. For instance, where was her mother? Why wasn't she around? What did she do wrong to cause her mother to desert her? In the subconscious, that is what is going on. It's also the case, my father told me I was a princess. He would do anything for me. Why has he not organised for this to be my right? Why aren't these people doing what I want? After all, my dad told me that I deserved everything. She's taken back to those formative days as a child when she experienced those lack of control, and the visceral response is similar for her. That she feels in that moment the helplessness, the lack of control, the vulnerability of that child, until the narcissism swoops in and comes to her rescue by unleashing the rage. The rage at Catherine, the rage at the crowd, the rage at the media, the rage at the royal family. A variety of thoughts swirling through her twisted mind as she seethes, calling Catherine every name under the sun under her breath. It might be that she turns and mocks her to Harry. It might be that she turns and mocks her to whoever might be sharing a gin and tonic stuffed with too much fruit. There may not be anybody on hand, and therefore she has to stay in a position of withdrawal, cursing Catherine under her breath saying, well, she looks awful, I didn't want to be there anyway, even though, of course, she does, demonstrating once again the hypocritical compartmentalization of the narcissist. But in that particular moment, all of the injustices that she perceives that she has ever suffered are all collected and weighed against her. It makes her feel that vulnerability, that opposition, until the narcissism descends and does its job and seeks to liberate her from it. She experiences that visceral rage that surfaces as a consequence of witnessing Catherine's reception. And this keeps on happening because that is the nature of her dynamic. That she doesn't learn to think, I won't look again because of what it does to me. She cannot help but always want to see what Catherine is doing because of the necessity of the need for control and because Catherine is the nemesis. And each time she will see the response that Catherine receives from people, how people praise the way she dresses, the way that she interacts with them, and then it will cause that seething rage to surge forward once again, the fury rising, and round it goes. There may well have been a response from this one's wife, with the consequence of her putting out some more nonsense on Instagram, and also quite possibly what amounts to the subject of my next video, which we'll get to in due course. But understand, be under no illusion that the appearance of Catherine will have resulted in the rage of this one's wife. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.